An inclusive transition. With the European Green Deal setting the ambitious target of carbon neutrality by 2050, how should the transition to green energy be supported in regions where fossil fuels currently play an important economic and social role? Becoming the world's first climate-neutral bloc by 2050 is a great challenge, but also a great opportunity. The European Green Deal will improve the well-being and health of citizens and future generations by having cleaner air, water, cleaner energy and soil, reusable or recyclable packaging, less waste, renovated homes, schools and hospitals, and better public transport alternatives. At least this is what the Green Deal promises. Analyzing the country's current situation, it is obvious to see that many countries aren't living up to the promise they made in 2015. If we don't want the European Green Deal to have the same ending, it is safe to say that targets are not enough. We need immediate and realistic action plans. The shift away from fossil fuels will undoubtedly have an impact on communities that rely heavily on such industries. To combat this, the EU released a Just Transition Mechanism that will release at least 100 billion euros over the next 6 years to the most affected communities, as to alleviate the socio-economic impacts of this transition. The greenhouse gases are the main cause of the Earth's average temperature increases over the past 250 years. In 2017, EU GHG emissions were down by 90% compared with 1990 levels, putting the EU on track to meet its targets, which are to reduce GHG emissions by 20% by 2020 and by 40% by 2030, compared with 1990. When it comes to energy, there are several stakeholders expressing concern towards the topic, who will act to serve their own interests. Of the member states, Poland contributes heavily to fossil fuels, with half of all employees in the industry being Polish. In Poland, a transition to clean energy will be the most difficult and significant. Employers and employees will be affected, but the government will have the greatest influence. On the contrary, countries whose economy does not rely as much on fossil fuels will aid countries such as Poland. Owners of fossil fuel facilities may act as lobbyists and go against progressive green policies, as they stand to profit from fossil fuel extraction the most. Contrastingly, firms providing green energy through nuclear power plants, solar panels, and hydropowers are likely to act in favor of such policies. There are several conflicts to take into consideration: environmental interests versus cultural interests. Member states will benefit from the Green Deal because it will bring economic prosperity and improve the quality of life. However, the energy transition may harm cultures attached to fossil fuel-focused industries. Dismantling versus converting. Converting industries and infrastructures linked to non-renewable energy will help the communities in the transition. Yet, many are concerned that this would favor such activities by hiding them under a green layer. Focus on international actors versus focus on local actors. European institutions and governments could collaborate to achieve the 2050 goal and accelerate the energy transition. The Just Transition Mechanism proposes to operate on a smaller scale to effectively tackle regional problems. Renewables versus alternatives. Renewable energy sources guarantee green energy, yet they can be undependable. You need to have sunlight to power solar panels. Alternative energy sources, like nuclear energy, biomass, can cut CO2 emissions and provide a stable output of energy, but they can be very controversial.